Now, I will go to that interesting stuff. What is it an entrepreneur? Or are entrepreneurs born? Or are entrepreneurs crazy? You know, I think that they are crazy for sure. I don't know whether they are born or made. Nature versus nurture. I read some article about that recently in The Economist, and of course lots of interesting early research, but I don't think that anyone has answer. I don't think that that's important, but let's study a little bit who those entrepreneurs are. I will give you maybe a little bit controversial, maybe not, my own view, not only who is it an entrepreneur, but also some good advice. I believe good advice, maybe useful advice for you when you are running your businesses or thinking about starting businesses. Or, by the way, for me, entrepreneur doesn't necessarily have to have a business. You still can have entrepreneur spirit. Now, I don't want to talk about so-called entrepreneurs, because today everyone is entrepreneur who takes someone else's money, risky, invest that, and then says, oh, sorry. Okay, so not those type of entrepreneurs. The entrepreneurs who really carry their own skin to all the ventures what they do. That's one of the interesting features of entrepreneurs. So here are few thoughts, just maybe a little bit provoking thoughts about risk, rules, and processes. I think that it's somehow connected with the entrepreneur. I think that what we are trying to achieve in our society, or the Western societies especially, that we are trying to build risk-free society. Totally risk-free. We are eliminating risk. And of course, you know, risk is a big part of being an entrepreneur also. But building risk-free society is the biggest nightmare I can think of. It's a prison which is disastrous because it's killing creativity. I want to give you an example of a very recent experience, otherwise very nice experience. I was last week at the Gartner conference in Orlando. Gartner is an analyst group in the IT sector, a huge conference for 5,000 people in the Disney part of Orlando. Right? I was amazed how many rules they have in that Orlando or in that Disney World, the Disney resorts. You basically have rules for absolutely everything. One mean of the transportation is actually some nice boats, simple boats, but very safe, right, on those mini rivers. Just boarding that boat, you cannot get right away on the platform. You have to pass through two different sets of chains. When no one can enter the platform when another boat is landing there. So there are two people who have to help you to get in the boat. Or you have to sit on the boat. When they are making stops, they always open the door, you still making sure that everyone sits, then they close the door behind them, they lock the door, then they go with the rope, chain it to the dock, then immediately, these are steps which take the captain a few seconds, right? Roping, then he goes to the door, unlocks the door, opens the door, then gives you the order that you can step out, you know. I was looking at it, I was thinking, my God, I want to jump off that boat because it's moving so slow, it's to the shore, I don't want to walk back, why I cannot jump, or if I cannot jump, I know why, right? Because people might get injured. And if they get injured, this company would be sued. So if you want to leave Orlando and you decide to use the Disney transportation to the airport, they have to bring you to the airport at least 4 hours before your departure. I never been on the airport even 2 hours before my departure. It's killing me. I would die to be there that early, right? But they have to do it because they are some people apparently who were never on the plane before, and if they are not at least 4 hours at the airport, they might not find their gate. Right? So taking that risk away, they set up all those rules. So I called the cab to get back home, right? But they read me first statement when they asked, where are you driving? I said to the airport. They said, okay, but you understand that it's your own responsibility to get there on time, that we are not responsible. What we are doing. So don't get me wrong. Our company is helping our clients to build processes, because we have also a small unit which is called Adastra Business Consulting. We build useful processes for our clients. Now, as an IT company, we are implementing processes, rules into meaningful systems. I think that this is what makes our society absolutely great, because this is how we increase productivity, right? Just go on Pearson, since I touched on the transportation, go on Pearson, how fantastically organized that place is. Whoever spent some vacation in the Caribbean, you know that there are places where they have one plane landing there a day or two, right? And when you arrive there for the pickup and you want to board, people are running, no one knows. I mean, the helper, the officials, and these, you know, it's tremendously chaotic. And so rules are good, but overruling is very bad. Now, I tell you how you recognize entrepreneurs. People in Orlando walking, following, no one questioning anything. You know, this is how it is. This is how it has been established. So we follow. We are happy that we follow. Right? So this is what you say. Look right, look left. You know, now this is the right. The entrepreneur is in pain. The other people are not. So I hope that you are the people who would be in pain, because this is where the opportunities are. This is where the opportunities are. We want, as entrepreneurs, in very constructive way and creative way, to challenge the status quo, right? To challenge the status quo. Okay, so even though the time is running, I will tell you one funny story where even though I didn't want it much, but I challenged another status quo, okay? And that was in the year 2004, I think, when my brother and my mother visited here, and we decided for a Saturday to go yet again to the Niagara Falls, because anyone, especially the immigrants, when they have their families, friends visiting, you go from Toronto, Niagara Falls, Niagara Falls, Niagara Falls. Okay. I was bringing them there, driving them there, but I was thinking, I don't want to go to the falls. I love them, but I thought, instead of that, I will take 1 hour, 2 hours look on the other side of the border. They didn't have visa in their Czech passports and didn't want to go there, but I thought, instead of there, I will just take a ride on the other side of the border, because that was a place where we used to go when my family, my son was small, and we would go to the orchards, you know, maybe buying also cheaper booze in their liquor stores, right, and saving those few bucks, and that would pay for the trip, and we would do it almost every second weekend. At one period of our life. So I thought I would go there. But that was 2004, few years still fresh after the 9/11. And I got to the crossing, sitting in the car, and that lady, and it looked pretty dangerous, not how I remembered it years back, right? And she asked me, not very friendly and not very polite, where I was going. Well, I was telling her, quite obviously, into the United States. She said, what you will be doing there? I said, I will be looking around. And she asked, how long you intend to stay? I said, 1 or 2 hours. And that was enough to be surrounded by 5 officers, fully gunned. They didn't allow me to get out of the car on my own. I had to follow orders. Now raise hands, you know, go to the locker. Very crazy. I asked the Canadian embassy to be contacted. They informed me that I had no rights whatsoever, right? And they inspected that. They locked me in some small cabin, glass, so I could see what they were doing with my vehicle. They were inspecting everything for 1 hour, removing things, etc., right? And then after 1 hour, they decided to let me go. And the rage was in me, right? So as they say, okay, sir, it's okay, you can continue. I said, well, thank you very much. I understand that also United States struggles with unemployment, but this is really poor way how to solve that problem. So they decided to take me for questioning. 1 hour questioning, fingerprinting, all camera, right? And I was telling the guy, so look at me. I like you. I'm your neighbor. I used to come here regularly, what I'm doing, and now I was doing all the time. I am from neighboring province. I am just across the border. I am coming to a neighboring visit. What are you doing? These guys did everything right. They were following their processes. So nothing against them, and I understand, the anxiety of the time, right? So I don't want to criticize the U.S. Border Patrol, but there was something wrong in the process because they had case which we call in the processes business false positive. They simply identified someone as their guy, the bad guy, who wasn't, right? And maybe some others were passing. So I think, again, as entrepreneurs, we need to be challenging the environment around us, making it better, and looking there for opportunities, because there are the opportunities which other people might not see. Sometimes it's changing the paradigm. And this is, sometimes we get into those ruled world so that nothing can move. We know it also from building software. When you had the first Windows, Microsoft Windows, and then they patch it and build something better and patch it, and now you know how much you need to install, and it's such a huge program, and because they are not going back to the fundamental principles. Now there are companies. And we know Ab Initio is one interesting company out of Boston. They reprogram all their software every few years whenever some major changes happen, because they don't want that program to get stuck. And this is changing the paradigm. This is what we need to be thinking of as entrepreneurs. And so that was about risk, right? So we simply put all these processes out of fear that something will happen, taking the risk away. The risk, as entrepreneurs, we know, must be there, because taking risk away kills any opportunity.